Um, I want to share the story of this book with you. And I hope that it will give you some direction and clarity and maybe give me some direction and clarity. And it's all connected to what's going on in the world right now. So I guess I don't even know how to tell this as a story. It is a story. I won't tell the story in chronological order. Sort of some postmodern storytelling, but where the story begins with me is I got this book back in December. And it was a book that I had known about the existence of for a while, and I wanted it. It was significant to me, special to me. And around December time of December 2024, I was able to locate and procure a copy from someone who was willing to let me have it. I'll just tell you what it is. It's a Tanya. Tanya is the book written by Shner Zalman of Liadi, the first Chabad Rebbe, in the 1790s. It's a codification or a systemized, organized presentation of Teres Baal Shem Tov, of basic Hasidic teachings, and primarily their application to personal growth, how to become closer to Hashem. There are copies of Tanya that were printed all over the world. The Lubavitcher Rebbe famously launched an initiative to print Tanyas wherever Jews lived, and they were printed in thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of locations, even sometimes on little laser printers, on a desktop laser printer. This particular Tanya was printed in Tehran. And I want to tell you about the story of it, and I want to tell you about some of the Hashgacha Pratis. So I got my copy of the Tehran Tanya in December, as I told you, and I actually had planned on using it at an event, Yud Tes Kislev. Yud Tes Kislev, if you don't know, is the 19th day of the Hebrew month of Kislev, which is the day when the aforementioned Rav Shner Zalman, the Alter Rebbe, the Baal Tanya, was released from imprisonment. He was imprisoned on false charges of treason by the Tsarist government, and then he was acquitted and released, and the date of his acquittal and release is the 19th day of Kislev, which is celebrated until this day as a great celebration of the dissemination of Chassidus, because after he was released, not only was he free to continue teaching Chassidus, but he taught Chassidus on a much larger scale than ever before. So there was an event from Koil Chabad. Koil Chabad is a very important charity. Actually, it was founded by the Alter Rebbe. Koil Chabad is a charity that is over 230 years old, and it was founded to support the needy in the Holy Land. And until this day, Koil Chabad supports the needy in the Holy Land. So they had an event, Yud Tes Kislev, called Nafshi, and I was supposed to speak there. And at the event, it's a concert. People don't really want to hear speakers; they want to hear music. But I was one of the speakers, and I was going to speak, and I wanted to just short and sweet. I didn't want to bore anyone. So my idea was I wanted to say, hey, it's Yud Tes Kislev. It's the anniversary of the liberation of the author of the Tanya, and this is a Tanya. It's a very special Tanya. It's the Tehran Tanya, and I want to tell you the story of it. And then I was gonna basically, give it away at the event. So I did not attend the event because my father passed away 2 days before the event. So my father, Gershom Taub, Olav Shalom, for whom I'm saying Kaddish presently, I three times a day. I attend shul, synagogue, and I lead the prayers, and I say Kaddish for the elevation of his soul. So I was not able to attend that event because I was sitting Shiva. And so the whole idea of presenting the Tanya, it kind of got tabled. And I mean, I've had it literally tabled. It's been on my table. Yeah, so I've been busy with life, with saying Kaddish, and with growing the Soul Words platform. I mean, it's crazy. We're reaching 10 million people a month now. That's correct. 10 million people a month across all platforms. And we opened up a new physical center, a house for events, fabrengens, shiurim, gatherings on the ground floor, and in the basement we have a state-of-the-art video production facility and podcast studio. This is all half a block from the aisle, from the resting place of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who is the descendant and successor of the author of the Tanya. So a lot been going on in my life, and I had the Tehran Tanya on my desk and didn't really get around to dealing with it again. So this morning, I'm in the middle of the campaign, the fundraising campaign, and I'm like, I'm cognizant of the fact that people are kind of distracted, and they're not. The number one priority right now is not responding to me and helping me do what I need to do right now for these 48 hours. It's a 48-hour matching campaign. Every dollar is doubled. Yeah. So, but that's not the point. The point is, so I'm thinking to myself, what am I raising money for? I'm raising money for Soul Words. Soul Words is soul words. We speak the words that are from the soul to the soul. And I got to tell you, I don't normally, I don't know if you know my content, you don't know my content, if you're a regular follower or an occasional follower, not at all a follower. I don't generally speak about current events. I feel like there's a lot of rabbis who do that already, many who do it well, some who don't do it well, but plenty who do it well, and plenty who do it. And you don't need Chase Taub to be the guy who chimes in on every current event. This is not Twitter or X or whatever. I don't have to have a hot take on every news item. I feel like most of what people turn to Soul Words for is spiritual guidance and clarity in their personal lives. And yeah, so anyways, sort of slightly out of character, but I just want to address what's going on in the world, but not from like a political standpoint. It's not my thing. It's not my training or expertise, and it's not I don't believe my soul's mission in this world. I want to talk about it from a spiritual perspective, and I'll do that by telling you this story. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the story about this Tanya. The story is like this. I told you that the Lubavitcher Rebbe was involved in printing Tanyas all over the world, literally in every place where Jews lived, even small towns, like little towns where a few Jews live. And if it was possible to print the Tanya there, the Rebbe wanted it done. Okay, so the Rebbe had a Tanya printed in Tehran right before the revolution. And apparently it was not so simple. There were a lot of, I think it was in 1977, they started, there were a couple of Bachram who went, yeshiva students, rabbinic students, to start the process, but there was such upheaval. And the end of the story is it took them a year to get the printing done. And understandably, things were very, up in the air. So what happened is from the time they started the printing until they finished, there was the revolution. And they had this big box in the shul full of these Tanyas. And they were like just disheveled, like this box of Tanyas that were not really organized. People had other things going on. I mean, obviously, understandably. So this story is like this, and this story was told by the one to whom it happened firsthand, a a rabbi by the name of Rabbi Ezrachian, who I believe still, he left Tehran and he came to Great Neck, which is the location of a very thriving Persian Jewish community. I believe he's still there. He's in his 90s, K'nai Hoda. May Hashem give him good health. So he was the rabbi of the shul. And it was after the revolution, so the Ayatollah came out with a proclamation that there should be no remnant or remembrance of the Shah. Anything that had any type of mention of the Shah, it has to be destroyed. Now, the Jewish community has been in Persia for thousands of years, and certainly they had many historical artifacts, documents, books that had the imprint of the Shah. I mean, basically everything that's printed in a monarchy, there has some type of like official government imprint where it mentions the Shah. You know, like you look on your money, it mentions who's the president, right, or the secretary of the treasury, or whatever it is. Like having the name of the government on official items is just like a very common thing. So, bottom line, the Jewish community had a lot of items that had the Shah's name or a mention of the Shah or the family of the Shah. And a lot of these things were like priceless, irreplaceable artifacts of historical significance. They didn't want to destroy it, so they started slowly smuggling it out of the country. But a lot of the items were still in the country, and they were kept in the shul. The shul had a lot of these artifacts and books, a lot of books. At any rate, the deadline came for this purge of anything that had any remnant of the Shah, and there was an inspection. And it was announced that anyone who was in violation, anyone who still had something that belonged or had any mention of the Shah, that whether they do it on purpose or not, they're immediately going to be arrested. And if it's thought to be that they did it on purpose, that's punishable by death. So the shul was inspected one fateful day. Two members of the government police force, the Revolutionary Guard, come to the shul, and they say, we're here to inspect the premises to make sure you're in compliance with this purge. And the receptionist got Rabbi Ezrachian, and he understood that there were so many things in the shul that were in violation that it was only a matter of them looking at a few different things, and they'll eventually pretty quickly find something that would be in violation, and they're probably going to shoot whoever they're dealing with. So he understood, as the rabbi, as the leader, that that's got to be him. So he told them, "Yeah, I'm the rabbi. I can show you around." So he said, "Where do you want to begin?" For whatever reason, they said, "Let's begin in the library." Now, the library is like the worst place to look because, like I told you, a lot of the books had old imprints of the Shah. The basement was where the library was, so they actually had to walk downstairs. And Rabbi Ezrachian says, as he's walking down the steps, basically knew he's probably, in all likelihood, going to be executed very soon. They're going to find he's in violation. The synagogue is in violation. They're not going to ask questions. They're probably going to execute him on the spot. And so as he's walking down the steps, he's saying the confession prayer, the vidui, that, the confession of sin, Shamnu Beganu, and he's asking forgiveness from Hashem for any of his transgressions so that he can leave the world a true penitent. And he's ready to leave. That's basically it. And they get to the bottom of the stairs, and these two guys, these police, these inspectors, whatever you want to call them, they start looking around. And for whatever reason, they point at this box. They say, "What's that? What's that?" And this is a box of this just disheveled books. They're not even like organized. It's the Tanyas. The Tanyas that they had printed in such a rush and they hadn't really dealt with properly. It was just this heaping pile of Tanyas in a box. So this officer says, "What is that? What is that?" So Rabbi Ezrachian says, It's Tanya. He said, what's Tanya? Well, it's a book. It's a Hasidic book. It's Hasidic, Baal Shem Tov. What's Baal Shem Tov? So he's trying to explain, the 300 years ago, there was a rabbi, and he taught how to serve Hashem. And the guy the police officer, he grabs the Tanya. He's like, I'm not sure what you're explaining to me, but he says, I want to know what's in it. And he randomly, we know nothing is random, opens the book to the first chapter of the second volume. Second volume is called Shara Yichud Ve'amunah, the gate of unity and faith. It's about the oneness of Hashem. The oneness of Hashem, how creation is not a separate existence. Creation does not constitute anything, God forbid, autonomous or independent from God's oneness, that there really is only oneness. At any rate, so this guard grabs the book, opens randomly to this page that I have it open to, and he gives it to Rabbi Ezrachi, and he says, here, read it and translate, and don't lie, because I'll know if you're lying. So he starts, a little Tanya class. Perek Aleph, chapter 1, V'yadaita yim v'shavesa lo. That's a verse in Devarim in Deuteronomy. You should know today and place it upon your heart. Yeshem hu Elokim b'shamayim imav al oretz mitochas einayt. That Hashem is the Lord in the heavens above and on the earth below. There is none else. And it goes on to explain that the Baal Shem Tov taught, what does it mean in Tehillim, in Psalms, Kuf Yotes, chapter 119, La'elam Hashem devorach nitzav b'shamayim, that forever, O Lord, your word stands in the firmament. It means that when God spoke, yes, let there be. God said, let there be, and there was. When God spoke all of the things of creation into being during the 6 days of creation, those words are energy blocks, building blocks of energy. Each letter of the 22 Hebrew letters are different wavelengths of energy, and they are arranged in different combinations to form words. And each of those words are the life force that brings each of these things into being. And that when Hashem spoke, for instance, the Rakia, the firmament, the sky, into being, it wasn't a one-time event, but it's an ongoing, dynamic relationship where Hashem continues to infuse the creation with those letters of speech. And if Hashem would cease to continue to speak the creation into being, it would automatically revert to absolute nothing, just as it was for eternity before it was compelled into its state of created somethingness. And he's reading this and he's explaining it. He's reading, translating, explaining. Hashem is speaking the world into being even now, and as such, there's nothing really separate from Hashem, because the world has no independent existence. The world is only an extension of Hashem. It's constantly being brought out of nothingness into its state of created somethingness. Its default is non-existence. It's only the power of the Creator that's bringing it into existence as we know it, and therefore there is no true existence but Hashem himself. And he's explaining this, and this police officer then, satisfied, he takes the Tanya away from Rabbi Ezrachian. He puts it on his forehead and he kisses it, as I believe some Muslims are accustomed to do with holy books. He gently puts it back on the pile, and he says that the new Republic of Iran needs more books like this. And he turns around and he starts to walk out. Rabbi Ezrachian had the presence of mind, thank God, to ask him, is the inspection done? Because the guy's walking out. The guy says, in a place that has a book like this, no further inspection is needed. And he wrote whatever it was, a form in writing, and basically gave them the clearance that these premises have been checked, everything is fine. Apparently, the receptionist didn't hear from Rabbi Ezrachian for a few hours. She finally came down to the basement. She found him lying on the floor. He fainted. After they left, after the police left, he fainted. It was such an intense experience. And then he came to and he realized what had happened, this miracle. This, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to get up and bring it over to the camera. You're not going to be able to hear me because I'm walking away from the mic, so you're not going to hear such good sound, but hopefully you'll see this. Tanya, Book of Tanya, printed in Tehran, High Elul, 1978, 738, and something in Farsi I can't read. Paras is Persia. Biblical Hebrew name of Persia. Paras. So I got this book back in December, and I wanted to share it on Yutes Kislev. And as I told you, my father passed away, so that didn't end up happening. So I have it now, and here's what I'm going to do. This just is what feels right. Of course, you can donate to any good cause. Tzedakah, charity, is a powerful tool for invoking merit and protection. So you can give to any good cause. But what I will say is right now we're having our campaign for Soul Words, which allows us to spread messages of hope and faith and clarity and light, warmth, love. So if you participate in the campaign, what I want to do is raffle off this Tanya, the Tehran Tanya, to one of the participants in the campaign, okay? I'll put the link below. And I want everyone to have a chance. But of course, I want to sort of incentivize also people who want to give more, if they're able to give more. So what we'll do is for every $50, I don't want to set the bar so high because I don't want to exclude a lot of people, but for every $50 amount that you do, we'll make a raffle after we reach the goal. We have to reach the goal. I want to kind of incentivize you. We're trying to reach a goal right now of $600,000. So after we reach that goal, what I'll do is we'll put it into an app that does this pretty easily. For every $50 that you donate, you'll have one chance at the raffle, and then we'll have it randomly pick, although nothing is random, like I said before, which is why, whoever wins the raffle, we'll know that there was a reason why they needed to have this Tanya. So if you'll donate, for every $50, we'll give you one chance for this Tanya, and we'll do that after we reach the goal. Again, after we reach the goal, we'll do that, God willing, and we'll see where this Tanya belongs. And the main thing is this, and I want to say this very, very, very unambiguously. We know what happens. We know the end. There is prosperity, peace, security for all. Not because human beings get together and are so smart and figure it out, but because in the end, Hashem has his way. He has the perfect world that he envisioned when he created the world. And when people come together and recognize that Hashem is the true king, people will be united under that truth. And then automatically there will be peace and prosperity for all humanity. And that's what happens. Mashiach is coming. That's the reality. And we know one of the things that brings Mashiach is the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov. Famously, the Baal Shem Tov had an experience where he went to heaven while he was still alive, and he met the soul of Mashiach, and he said, Emosi Kosimar, when is the master arriving? When will you come to redeem the world? And he said, when your well springs, He referred to the Baal Shem Tov's teachings as well springs, are spread forth everywhere. So the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov, which we just learned a little bit from the Tehran Tanya, the idea that the world is constantly spoken into being, the concept that creation does not have autonomous, independent existence, but rather there's only one absolute existence, and that is Hashem. So those teachings, when they are spread out over the entire world, that will bring Mashiach. So I want everyone to get ready and to know this. If you've already started learning the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov and Tanya, we're going to be very, very busy soon, because I promise you, the world is going to be thirsting for this information. The entire world will suddenly abandon all other interests and become absolutely thirsty for all information about the truth of God's oneness. All nations, all people, all countries will all be yearning for this information. So our job is to hold on to this truth, to teach this truth. And like I was told when I was a yeshiva bacher, when I was a student in the rabbinic school, and interesting current events would be happening, our teachers would tell us, if you want to help whatever it is that's going on in the world, the best thing you can do is focus on learning Torah. Hashem runs the world. You're reading the news. I mean, when I was in yeshiva, it was like going out and like turning on 1010 Winds, listening to the news radio. Now it's, refreshing the Twitter app every 10 seconds to see whatever misinformation or disinformation or whatever is out there. So it's not our job to constantly expose ourselves to all the news, which half of it, who knows if it's even true. It's our job to focus on what we do know is true, and that is that Hashem created the world for a purpose. He created the world to be a beautiful garden, a place of peace, of prosperity, where ultimately the occupation of the entire world will be simply to know Hashem, to have a direct relationship with Hashem, to know the oneness to the capacity that the finite human mind can know the absolute reality of God. That's the purpose of everything. So thank you for being part of this virtual community called Soul Words. Thank you for being part of my personal journey. It's been a interesting year. Yesterday was my birthday. I turned 51. And on your birthday, you're supposed to sort of contemplate and think about life. I usually do that religiously, but I didn't do it yesterday so much because I was so busy with the fundraising campaign. I just didn't do it. But, if I stop for a moment and I think about life and I think about my past year and I think about where my journey has taken me, I just want to share one part of it, and that is I'm so grateful for all the people that I'm connected with through the study of Torah, and thank you for letting me be a part of your life. Thank you for trusting me as a source of truth, and may we see the fullest revelation of the ultimate truth, Hashem's oneness, all throughout the world, recognized by the entire world. Okay, thank you so much. And that's it. I'm going to sign off here.